Hello and welcome to our Unit 3 of Support System in the Integumentary System, and this is the skin. So today we are going to go over the vocabulary words that you need to know for the system. We're also going to go through functions and then explain the parts of the integumentary system. So if you have your notes out, get those out and ready. And before you watch this, make sure you have watched the intro video. So that was the video right before this link in the same module. So go back and watch that if you haven't yet. I am going to, let's see here. Sorry, it's been a while since I've had the slideshow. Okay. These are the root words that you'll need to know. Fill these in on your notes there, and go ahead and stop the computer, stop the recording for a minute, and then just write them all down. Okay, here's the second page of the vocabulary with the suffixes and prefixes. If you remember, a suffix comes at the end of the word, and when you see like a dash and then letters, that is a suffix. If you see letters and then a dash, that is a prefix. Okay, go ahead and stop here and fill these in also. Okay, and then the vocabulary for abbreviations. When you see capital BX, that is a biopsy. So that's where they go in and take a piece of the tissue and then usually send it off for examination to see if it's cancerous or what's going on within that tissue. An IND stands for incision and drainage, or irrigation and debridement. And so that is, with skin, we might get some pus balls, right? And so at some point you might need to make an incision, so cut it and drain it. If you get damaged tissue, the debridement is the scraping away of that damaged tissue. For example, if you get a burn that leaves black and ashy type dead tissue, they'll remove that so that the skin underneath it can grow clean and fill in the bad area. PE is a physical exam. And then subcutaneous has a bunch of different ways to write it. So there you are. And then the UNG is an ointment. Okay. So these are things like you might see when a doctor prescribes something or is taking notes. When you see these things, you know what they are. Okay, we're going to go through a few of some interesting facts. I want you to star two of them and make a note on your notes somewhere of the two most interesting ones you have here. These are great conversation starters, or what did you know? Bring it up at the dinner table, as long as it's not too gross, okay? So, first of all, your skin is the largest organ and plays a vital role in detecting hot and cold, regulating your body temperature, and protecting your muscles, bones, and internal organs from outside infection and disease. But that is just starters. So, your skin is an organ, okay? Here are some of the most interesting facts about your skin. The average person's skin covers an area of 2 square meters. Your skin accounts for about 15% of your total body weight. The average adult has approximately 21 square feet of skin and weighs about 9 pounds, contains more than 11 miles of blood vessels. 11 miles. That's like from here to halfway downtown. The average person has about 300 million skin cells. A single square inch of skin has about 19 million cells and up to 300 sweat glands. Your skin is thickest on your feet and thinnest on your eyelids. Your skin renews itself every 28 days. Your skin constantly sheds dead tissues, about 30,000 to 40,000 cells every minute. That's nearly 9 pounds a year. So it is sloughing that off, but you're not losing 9 pounds because of your skin, because your skin regenerates and fills back in, right? Some sources estimate that more than half of the dust in your home is actually dead skin cells. Dead skin comprises about 1 billion tons of dust in the Earth's atmosphere. Your skin is home to more than 1,000 species of bacteria, and we know that some bacteria is good. Skin that is severely damaged may try to heal itself by forming scar tissue, which is different from normal skin tissue because it lacks hair and sweat glands. So have you noticed that when you get a scar back, you don't have any hairs that grow from that tissue? Okay, so those are some pretty wild and interesting things. So hopefully you guys wrote something down there to remember. Here's some little bit more vocabulary to fill in that goes specifically with this unit, with the full words. So avascular is without blood, so without blood flow or no blood vessels. If you remember, A means no or without, and then the vascular is vessels. So no blood flow or vessels. Benign is non-cancerous tumor. Comedo is a blackhead. So, you know, when you get a pore that gets clogged, just the blackhead part of it. Debridement, supposed to be an E in there, is the process of removing foreign material or dead damaged tissue to promote healing. And then ecchymosis is skin discoloration or a black and blue bruise. Malignant is a cancerous tumor. Okay, so when you go to the doctor, they say, we found cancer, you know, we found a tumor, we need to do a biopsy and figure out if it is benign or malignant. So you want to hear benign, okay? If they come back with malignant, that's the cancerous type. That's more dangerous. Metastasis is a movement from one body part to another, as in cancer. So your cancer can spread, and when it spreads from more than one part to another, that is the metastasis. Tinea is a fungal infection, which includes ringworm, athlete's foot, and jock itch. So all of these different types of skin irritations are caused by a fungal infection, tinea. Okay, here we are, the functions of the skin. So there are 5 functions, main functions of the skin. First one is for protection. It provides a physical barrier between the environment and your underlying tissues. It provides protection from bacterial invasion. So protection from the outside world. Think of it as a shield between you and that outside world. We also then have protection against ultraviolet radiation. So melanin is produced by melanocytes, which protects the skin from sunlight and is also responsible for giving the skin its color. And so this is used as a preventative measure to keep the ultraviolet radiation from penetrating and causing problems in your body. And so ultraviolet radiation, you can think of protecting yourself from the sun. Vitamin D production. In the presence of ultraviolet radiation, that sunlight, your skin will synthesize or make vitamin D, which is necessary for the absorption of calcium. So it is important to get some ultraviolet radiation, to get some exposure to sunlight so that our body can make vitamin D to help us out with some other necessary functions with calcium. We've also got temperature regulation. So it produces perspiration by sudoriferous glands or sweat glands to help maintain normal body temperature. So as your body sweats, it gives off a thin moisture sheet on your skin, and that is to help in the cooling process of your body. And then the last function is a sensory organ. So your skin contains numerous nerve endings and receptors to detect touch, pressure, and pain. So if you need to, I should have said at the beginning, of course, you probably know, just stop the video if I'm moving too fast. I go pretty quick through here so that we can get through and people can go at their own pace. So just know, you can stop that video and go back and fill in, right? So I'm going to teach you a real quick way that my students from a couple years ago put together to memorize these 5 functions. And it's something that they completely remember. One even came back from college and said that they nailed the 5 functions of the skin on a test because of this little rhyme or jingle that we taught them in that class. So it's protection. So the first protection, right, is from outside world. So protection, and then protection from ultraviolet ray. So protection, protection, vitamin D. So you do a V and then a D for vitamin D, okay? And then thermal regulation, so warm yourself up, thermoregulation, and sensory, so touching things, right? Sensory. Do it quickly, and you got this. Protection, protection, vitamin D, thermal regulation, and sensory. Okay, I made my students do it like 2 or 3 times. So I'd like you to stop. You can go back and do it again. Okay, so make sure you know those because you'll be filling those in by memory. Okay. Next, we have the layers of the skin. So we have the epidermis, which is the outer layer of your skin, the dermis, the next middle layer, and then the subcutaneous or hypodermis, which is the lower, below the dermis layer. Okay, and don't worry about looking at this picture here so much now. We will go into all the parts of it as we talk about each one, okay? So the first layer is your epidermis, and that epidermis is the outer layer of skin. It is avascular, so it does not contain blood vessels. So can you imagine if we had blood vessels that hit this outer layer, we'd be bleeding all the time, right? So it is avascular. Cells move outward through the layers and then eventually slough off. So your new cells grow from inside out, and that outer layer sloughs off. It is keratin, which is produced by keratinocytes and waterproofs the skin. So that's the keratin on that layer that gives you that waterproof barrier. You have melanin, which is produced by the melanocytes and causes pigmentation within the skin, hair, and eyes. So that melanin is the difference between light-colored skin, olive-colored skin, or very, very dark skin, okay? Same with the different colors with hair and eyes. So melanin is responsible for that. Let's see, why is it? There we go, dermis. So the dermis is then the next layer of skin, which is under the epidermis. Epi is like outer, and then dermis. Thick, it's thicker than the epidermis, and it's made of connective tissues. My computer's about to die. Got to plug it in. There we go. Okay. It's made of connective tissue fibers, and it contains the blood vessels, glands, hair follicles, nerve endings of the skin. It also has the dermal papillae, which are the ridges that allow us to feel textures and to hold things and to manipulate things. It gives us our fingertip, our fingerprint. Okay, so here is our new skin model. We just got this summer. Pretty excited. Up here is the really thin layer of epidermis with that dead layer of skins with the keratin, right? And then you've got this whole next layer here that has the blood vessels, the hair follicles, the sweat glands, and then the oil glands, okay? Sweat glands and oil glands. We'll get through, you'll understand what everything is on here when we're done. Okay, and then the next layer is the subcutaneous level, and that's this from here down. So you see these yellow patches through here. That's the adipose or the fat tissue. So it's an underlying layer, and it's not really considered part of your true skin. It is a connective tissue that connects your skin to the muscles and the organs underneath. It's composed of fat that helps to insulate your body from heat and cold, and it provides protective padding. It also serves as the site for energy storage. So this hypodermis layer also contains nerve endings that are responsible for deep pressure and blood vessels. So down deep, when you press hard and you can feel that pressure, you're feeling that from the hypodermis down below. Now, If you just go over like this, you're getting the nerve endings in the dermis, okay? And then if you just barely go on top, you're hitting the hairs. If you can feel that, if you've got any sticking out, you're hitting the hairs and you're feeling those as the nerve endings down by the hair follicle inside is being moved by that motion. So this hypodermis level lower is a site for liquid injections and is used for when you get a hypodermic needle. So hypoderm, you got to get it down in lower, right? Also called the hypodermis or superficial fascia, okay? So just know that it does have a few other like words, subcutaneous, hypodermis, superficial fascia. Your nails are part of your integumentary system. There's plates of tightly packed dead skin cells, or keratin again, of the epidermis. It helps to grasp and manipulate small objects. It does also help for protection, right? It covers our fingertips. If things were to smash like that, our nails do help with that. So you do have some parts that you need to fill in on your notes there. So you have the nail root, which is down inside back underneath the skin in here. That's the nail root down in there. You have the eponychium, which is the cuticle. The cuticle is where the skin touches the nail all around. You have the lunule, which is this white kind of area that's closest to the cuticle over here. If you know what lunar means, I believe in Spanish is moon, right? Then you've got the nail body, the main part of the nail, and then you've got the free edge, the white part near the tip of the nail, okay? Here's a fun story. My brother-in-law is a podiatrist, and he came home from med school one day and told his sweet wife, my sister, that he knew how to get rid of, how to treat ingrown nails. So either ingrown nails on your hands or your toes, right? Well, she's a soccer player and she would always get ingrown toenails on her big toes. And so he said, you know, do you want me to fix it for you? And she's like, yeah, of course. And so he gets the acid out and puts it on the nail and actually kills the root back into the nail, the bed back way deep. And her toenail never grew back. So she never had any problems anymore with ingrown toenails, but she doesn't have a toenail at all on one of her toes. It's kind of funny. Okay, the glands of the skin. We have sudoriferous glands and sebaceous glands. Now, how I remember the difference between these, sudor, I think of odor, sweat, right? Because sometimes our sweat can smell. So sudoriferous glands are our sweat glands, and sebaceous glands are the oil glands. Sudoriferous, they are the most numerous gland in the skin, and there are two types, the eccrine, which are widespread, and the apocrine, which is like the armpit and groin area. So the primary function is to regulate body temperature by evaporation of water. It eliminates also some waste products. So glands secrete a mixture of water, ammonia, sugar, salt, urea, lactic acid, amino acid, uric acid, and ascorbic acid. So if you've ever had sweat that maybe drips and gets into your eye, it stings a little bit, okay? Well, you've got all these other things, some salts and ammonia and stuff in there. And also too that maybe, you know, dripped and you get the taste of it. So that's what it's getting rid of, that gunky stuff, okay? So I wouldn't make it a habit. Here is the picture of the skin. So we've got the epidermis, this upper layer up here. Then you've got the layer of the dermis with the sweat gland here, an erector muscle that will help to pull the hair straight up at times. You've got the hair follicle. You have a sebaceous gland. The sebaceous glands are usually connected right next to the hair follicle. So that's how you know if you're going to label. If it's a gland right next to the hair follicle, that's going to be sebaceous, an oil follicle, right? If it's one that's out on its own and comes up all by itself, that is a sweat gland or sudoriferous gland, okay? Okay, so the sebaceous glands are the oil glands, and they are usually associated with the hair follicles. It secretes an oily substance called sebum, which is a mixture of fats, cholesterol, protein, and inorganic salts. So it keeps your hair from drying out and becoming brittle. It keeps the skin soft and pliable, and it inhibits the growth of certain bacteria. Okay, so here's a picture of the sebaceous gland stuck right next to the hair follicle, and it comes out through that same pore of the hair, and that's where you get the oil. Okay, moving on to your hair, it grows from the epidermis. It's composed of dead or keratinized skin cells. The primary function is protection, so it guards your scalp from injury and sunlight. You've got your eyebrows, right? That the eyelashes protect the eyes. And then your ears and nostrils, you actually have hair in those too. And as you get older, you'll see more of it. But they will keep foreign objects out. So your nostril hairs help to filter out things that you don't want down into your lungs. And you've got some hair in your ears that'll do the same to keep foreign objects out. So the hair actually does help regulate body temperature. And then you have touch receptors associated with hair follicles. Parts of the hair, you have the hair shaft, which is the visible part, so that's the part that sticks up here. You have a hair root, so that's the part below the skin. Let's see, which one would be the hair, right? Yep, below the skin. The hair bulb, so that's the down the deepest section, where the hair grows out of. So that is it. Okay, so we have gone over the functions of the skin, right? Let's do them together. Ready? Protection, vitamin D, D, thermal regulation, and sensory. Awesome. And then you learn the three different types of, the three different layers of the skin. You've got the epidermis, the dermis, and the hypodermis, or the subcutaneous, okay? The top one is avascular, middle one is vascular, and contains the hair follicles, the sebaceous and sweat glands in there. And then the lower level has the adipose, has that, the fat tissue, right? Okay. If you guys have any questions, contact me. Your next thing will be a flip book that you're going to use to do your diseases and disorders this time. So we have 9 of them. And this is what it will look like. If you see, I'll give you the list of them, and I'll show you on a separate thing of how to make this, but that's what's next to how we're going to do your disease and disorders for this unit, okay? It's a quick unit. We're going to be moving on fast. It'll be a quick test, and then we just move on. So don't get behind. Keep up with us. And I haven't seen at this point a lot of your tests for the muscle, so I'm a little concerned. We got to get that muscle test in from you also. Okay. So guys, check in with me, and don't forget the weekly form that you need to fill out. Nobody did it last week. So only if you did check in with me will I make attendance that you were here, but you need to fill out that form. So I know too, I know that if you've sent, it asks if you've done all your work, if you have, if you're waiting for your work to be graded, then that helps me to know, wait a minute, they sent something in and I go look for it. Or it says I'm still working on stuff. And then I know that you guys know what you're supposed to be doing, okay? So make sure that weekly form gets filled out. Go to your modules and homepage to find that, to fill that out. Okay, you guys are awesome. Hope to see you soon. Bye. Love ya.